Hello. An very much unplanned live today. But I am making 2 rings that I'm going to be casting hopefully today. I need to invest them today and cast them. I'm hoping around like 11, maybe 12 tonight so that I can finish them off tomorrow and mail them away. And I just finished this one. I just need to resize it. It's supposed to be a 7.5. So I thought on this live, we can finish these up and invest like in real time. And then that's probably what we'll be doing today. But I haven't been live in so long, so I thought it would be nice to talk to you guys in real time. So I'm just resizing this ring. I made this ring about a week ago, and when I cast it, it didn't form all the way. I don't think I had my metal hot enough. So I'm having to remake it, and I need to re-pull all the old gemstones out of the other one. I think I have it actually. I'm recycling some of the metal. Hi, oh, from Bath. I love Bath. That's one of my favorite cities in England. So hi, nice to see ya. From India. Oh, thank you so much. But this was the ring that I messed up before. It didn't form. You can see right there. There was supposed to be a gemstone, and then there was the band, but I cut it off to recycle the metal. But you can see all the gemstones inside. So I'm just remaking this ring. Let's see. But I gotta resize it. I'm also filming, well, I'm not filming right this second, but I've been filming like today and my week. So I should have all these videos or like this studio vlog up from this work and some other work that I did this week. I've got some new pieces that I made. Well, a new piece that I made that I'm super excited about. So I'm really excited to share the studio vlog because it was of me making this new piece of jewelry. And I always get so nervous to share like new pieces with people. But these I'm very proud of. I'm very excited. Thank you so much. From Africa. Wow, no one from the States right now. That's cool. Gosh, what time must it be over there? If you're in the UK, I think you're 8 hours ahead of me. It's about 9 o'clock. I don't know what time it is in Africa. What percentage of your builds do you think are unsuccessful, need to be redone? I haven't had an unsuccessful pour in such a long time, but I've been playing with my temperatures recently because I was having, some of my pieces were having porosity on them. And so I knew my metal temperature was too high. And so I had recently lowered my silver temperature to 1760. And before, I was keeping my silver and my gold temperature about the same, and it was working out just fine. So I ended up lowering the gold temperature, and then it didn't pour completely. But the other, I had cast that ring with a pair of earrings, and the earrings came out perfectly, no porosity whatsoever. So I think my gold temperature did need to drop, but I think I just lowered it too much. I poured at 1740, and I knew I shouldn't have, but I was getting really eager. So I think I just need to pour it like I think I'm gonna do 1800 this time. So thankfully though, I haven't had an unsuccessful pour in a very long time. This was the first one in a while. So Bolivia, Netherlands, Zimbabwe, wow, 922. South Carolina. My husband's from North Carolina, so I love the Carolinas. I bet it's nice and warm and humid where you are. I do miss the humidity. I like Idaho a lot, but it is a very dry climate. Oh, Stephanie, I love you. I hope you're doing well. Still a little bit too big. When you're resizing like a ring in wax, it's always best just to go, well, depending on your caster, I guess. Some people say they get their things shrink when they get them cast. I don't experience any shrinkage with my castings, but when I'm resizing a ring, I always have to remember that whenever it's after it's cast and I put it on my mandrel to just hammer it and shape it up, that it's gonna get a little bit bigger. So I like to just go like a hair smaller than what it's supposed to be. Because I know right now it's like when it's in wax, it's not a perfect circle. It can be a little wavy sometimes. So I just go a little bit smaller. That way, once I hammer it out when it's done and it's that really nice perfect circle shape, it's always the right size. Can we do the castings directly with stones on it? So yes, some stones. So these are sapphires and moissanite. Let me get you close. Sapphires and moissanite can withstand the heat of casting, but not all stones can. So you can, I usually cast sapphire, moissanite, lab-grown gemstones that explicitly say that they can be cast in place, because not every lab-grown gemstone can be. But I shop on Rio Grande a lot for my lab-grown stones, and they will say in their description if they can be cast in place. You have to take that with a grain of salt though, because I have used some of my lab-grown emeralds. It's just like a risk of doing it. You always take a risk when you're casting stones in place, but these are some lab-grown emeralds. And I always use, like for this ring right here, I always get my lab-grown emeralds from them and it says they can be cast in place, but I've had two so far that have cracked after casting. So there's always a risk with it, but I've never had a problem with sapphires or moissanites. So you can do some lab-grown gemstones, moissanites, sapphire, rubies, diamonds, but you don't want to go big. So like I would never, if this was a sapphire, I wouldn't cast that in place because it's so large and they run the risk of cracking more than these smaller stones. Other than that, you have to set your stones, but I love casting in place. I think it's really cool and it allows you to create like different settings. So if you notice, if you're familiar with my jewelry, I do this like molten texture a lot. And so it works perfectly with casting stones in place with having like a not super clean, straight setting. And that's beautiful too, but it's all in just what look you're trying to achieve pretty much. So I love casting stones in place, but I do both. I set stones and cast in place. Let's see, what is the difference between the pink and the blue wax? So the pink wax is injection wax. So that's what I use. I have a mold of all of my rings that I made. I made a mold of them, and my injection wax from my wax injector is pink. And I chose pink just because I like pink. There's no rhyme or reason for it. And then the wax that I work with every day, like the hard wax when I create my pieces, it just happens to be blue. And I like working with the blue wax. They have a bunch of different colors, but I like the blue because it's hard, but it's not too hard. It's perfectly in the middle, but it allows the flexibility of like pushing your stones out after you've created your settings, and it's flexible enough to not break, but to release your stones, if that makes sense. I don't like intentionally mix the only reason why I mix the two is because I have to resize rings after I inject them to fit the person that wanted to buy them. So I resize and I just do some touching up. Sometimes when I inject my molds, it doesn't fill all the way. Or when I need to put the stone in afterward, like these moissanite right here, I just end up using the wax that I normally use. So there's no intention behind it. It just is what it is. This is what I use every day. So also this pink wax is really, when you melt it, it's really watery. It won't let you create like textures like the blue wax will. So this is just what I use every day. Hey, thank you. I've only done 2 lives here on YouTube before, and I've always enjoyed them. I like getting to talk to you guys in real time and not just in my studio vlogs talking by myself. So if you guys have any questions, you can leave them down and I'll try and answer them. I don't normally work on Sundays, but I needed to get this ring done. I have some house projects I want to do after this, so I'm trying to get through it, which I guess doing a live isn't like, doesn't make me go faster, but it's nice to talk to you guys. So I'm just cleaning up the inside so you can't see any markings from where the pink and the blue came together. Any cleanup work that you do, it's better just to do it while it's in wax than before you cast it, so you don't wear down all of your sanding wheels and files and waste any material. You want it to look as finished as it's gonna be. What make is your wax pen? My wax pen is a Touch-O-Matic from Pepe Tools. A Touch-O-Matic. I used to use the RB one, and the RB one is a great wax pen, but it's not as fancy schmancy as the Touch-O-Matic. This one has a bunch of different tips that you can have for different stuff that you're using, but my favorite thing about this pen is that you can set it to be to come on when you're holding it. So you see that orange light? Now it'll get hot, but then when I'm done, I set it down and the light turns off and it stops heating up, which is really nice when you're working because you'll do something and then you'll set your pen down to clean something up and then you'll pick it back up, and it keeps you from having to turn your unit on and off and on and off and on and off. So I love this pen so much. I've been using it for, I think 4 months now, and I absolutely love it. It's a little bit expensive, but you'll notice all the wax pens are expensive, but if you do the buy once, cry once method and you just close your eyes and buy it, you definitely won't regret it. That's for sure. So the next ring is this Napoli ring. I made this one a long time ago, and it's just a wavy gold band, but I need this to be an 8.5, so just size this up. Explaining how the pickle bath works. So pickling is just cleaning your metal. After you light it on fire, it just makes your metal dirty. Obviously, you see it turns black and it brings all the copper out, and just if you don't clean it, I don't know what will happen actually if you don't clean it. I just know that it creates a bunch of color on the outside of your metal and it's not clean. But anyway, it's just an acid bath. So it's a little acid, you drop your metal in and it takes all that nasty stuff off the top, if that makes sense. But I used to use vinegar and water, or vinegar and salt, and it smelled so badly. My husband hated the way that it smelled, that everyone in the house would know when I turned the pickle pot on. And Pepe Tools had sent me this Bench Basics Smart Pickle, and it works so well. Genuinely, it works so well. You just put like a tablespoon, I think a tablespoon for every cup of water. And there's no scent to it at all, like no smell whatsoever, and it makes my pieces so much whiter after pulling them out. If you look at some of my older videos before I started using that stuff, after I would take things out of the pickle pot, they just weren't as white, weren't as clean, but that stuff makes them bright white and super soft, and they don't stink, so that's really nice. Let's see. Yeah, I love wolf wax carving tools too. I had gotten these I think right before Christmas, but I had never used these before, and they work so well. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. YouTube is so much more different than any other platform with just how like genuine people are and how supportive people are. I don't know what is different because I know y'all are on like Instagram and TikTok too, but I just love this platform so much, and I've felt so supported by all of you, and yeah, I really appreciate it so much. New Zealand, we're gonna order just design. I'm working on some orders. These were 2 orders that are gold that I just wanted to cast at the same time, so I'm working on those. These are on my website. It's called the Starry Night, and then this one's the Napoli ring. I actually think I have the Napoli ring in here. Let me see. Yeah. It's just a gold band. Just a melty gold band. Let's see. Studying jewelry for 2 years, but I never worked with wax. How does it work? So with wax, I have a ton of videos on how I make my jewelry with wax, but pretty much make it with wax, create a plaster mold in a flask, and then like of the wax, I put it on like a wax tree, and then I put it in an oven basically for 8 hours, and it burns the wax away, so you've got a negative image of your jewelry and a hole to pour your metal in. And then I melt the metal and I pour it in that flask in that negative image, and it fills with silver or gold. And then once it cools or I quench it, I can take it all out and I cut the jewelry off the tree, and then I finish the jewelry. So that's how it works. You don't have to cast if you don't want to. I actually have noticed that it's more abnormal to cast as a jeweler, business owner, whatever you want to call it. Most people will find a caster and send it to them and have it cast for them, and that's totally fine. I honestly think that's probably more efficient than doing it myself. It probably saves time just sending it away and moving on to another task. So I never want anyone to feel pressured. I feel like sometimes people see my process and they think that they have to cast themselves too. You don't. I mean, just like most businesses, they outsource the more costly things or more time consuming things. I just do it because I was super interested in doing it, and it like really, I wanted to do every single part. So I chose to learn and do it myself. But some people also want to learn. So if you want to learn too, definitely do it. I've got anything you would ever need for casting listed in my Amazon storefront. And that link, I can put it in the description later, but it's also in the link of all of my other videos too. But I've got it broken down to everything you need to cast, everything you need to wax carve, everything you need to sand and polish. I've got like your basic tools in there, and then also tools that you can splurge on just so you don't get them mixed up, because I don't ever want someone to buy something that may not be necessary in the beginning if you're just learning. But let's see. I'm studying jewelry for 2 years. Let's see. Metal oxidizes and you want it shiny, you pickle it and you polish it. Thank you, oxidizing. That was the word I think I was looking for, but yes, thank you very much. Hi, where do you buy your gemstones? I get my gemstones, most of them from Rio Grande, and then others on Etsy. Only people though that have like tons of reviews. Thankfully, that's been my process of just reading reviews on Etsy. I try and order within the United States just to keep it simple. The only people I order from that aren't in the US are my opals from Australia. So don't be scared of Etsy, just read reviews. And thankfully I haven't been like bit in the butt or anything from Etsy. Is it still considered handmade when using a mold? I think so. I don't understand this whole some people get really affected when you call it handmade if you injected it with a mold. But I made it by hand the first time, and then I made the mold with my hands, and then I injected it with my hands, and then I cleaned it up and set the stones in here with my hands and redid the texture with my hands, and I invested it with my hands and sanded and polished and cast and set stones with my hands. So I think yes. I don't know, but I don't think too much into the nitty-gritty technical, but it's all with me, starts with me. The designs were me. So I say it's handmade, but to each their own. Wish you shipped to New Zealand. I don't know why. I'm gonna look more into Shopify, but Shopify will not let me add New Zealand or Singapore. I've had people from Singapore ask me to add it, and it doesn't even give it to me as an option. So I did some digging a while back, but I didn't see anything, any option to click, but I'll take another look into it. I'm sorry. Let's see. Thank you. 3D printing. I think 3D printing is really cool. Also, another thing that like the hardcore jewelers, I know a lot of them, they're like, that's not handmade, that's not real, or that's cheating 3D printing, but that's such a talent in its own, people designing jewelry on CAD. I mean, I don't think I could ever unless I dedicated my time to learning. I've thought about learning 3D CAD, but when I look at my style, which is very like free flowing and multi and not perfect, I don't feel like CAD fits that style. I feel like CAD is the epitome of like creating something that's super perfect and symmetrical, and that's never been my style. I think it's really cool though. I really do. I'll never say never. Can you make really smooth surface jewelry with wax carving? Of course, yes. I made this one with wax carving. This one is just a signet ring, and then I put a stone in it. I've got other signet rings on my website that, I think the dome ring, I have a dome, if you type dome ring on my website, that one I made with wax. So yeah, of course, the difference is you just file it all down. I mean, most smooth rings are made from wax. Let me find, like this. Like you could, if you wanted a smooth ring, you could just start with a tube of wax and then file it, shape it, you know, and it would come out really smooth, and use your blades to smoothen it out. So yes, you can. It's all up to your personal taste and preference. I think sometimes people think that my like molten or like wavy textures are not intentional, but it all is. You can make things very like symmetrical and smooth out of wax as well. Yeah, Rio Grande is very consistent with their stone sizes, and I think that's another great reason to use them. And wherever they're getting their stones from is a strong supplier because they always have them in stock. So then when I buy them from Rio Grande, I know that I won't have to really worry about something going out of stock. That's not to say they never do, but I really like using them. And yes, they are a little more pricey than other places, but for the consistency and for it always being available, I think it's worth it. Training out tools to start designing, creating, keep running into the problem not having enough money. I know it's so expensive. Don't get overwhelmed by like all the options of tools. I started so simply. I literally just had a torch and a saw frame and like just basic wire and soldering. Like start off really simple just to get the basics of like what you need to sell a ring pretty much, and then start selling and then just reinvest that money to upgrade tools to make new things, if that makes sense. I have a whole video about how I got started and how it just kind of snowballed, and maybe that could be helpful for you, but really try not to get too distracted by all the tool options, because although everything in my studio is used and loved and appreciated, it's not all necessary. With wax, I started off with just a spirit lamp. I didn't have a $300 like wax pen. This was, I think, maybe $10 on Amazon with some denatured alcohol. I didn't have super expensive carving tools. I just had a cheap little dental set, like dental wax carving set from Amazon, and I would heat it up on here and then create my rings on like a normal mandrel. So you can start really basic and just try not to get overwhelmed. I know it is expensive, even getting basic tools, but just really simplify it in your mind. Okay, what do I really actually need to do this? I know it's still expensive. I'm really sorry, but don't be overwhelmed by all the options. Let's see. Aw, thank you for subscribing. Do you work in other forms, pendants, bracelets, etc.? What drew you to jewelry making? Yeah, if you look at my website, I've got necklaces. I've never made bracelets or anything like that, but I do have earrings, necklaces. And I started during the pandemic, I was just bored. I started making clay jewelry, and then I loved it, but I was like, I wanted to make things more permanent that couldn't break as easily, and then I just kind of fell down that rabbit hole. But I've never been into jewelry making, or I was like 25, I think, when I started. It just really honestly was out of the blue. Let's see, how do you make multiple sizes of a ring? Do you make multiple molds of different sizes? No, I just, like this, I made a mold of and I injected it, and then I just cut where the injection came from right here, and then I just resize it. So I just put it on my mandrel once I've taken it out of the mold. Like here, I'll show you two right here. Just when it comes to molds, you can make a mold of any size. I personally just make a mold the most common ring size. For women, that's like a 5, 6, or 7. So some of my molds are 5, some of them are 7s. And then I inject the mold and then just cut it. And I put it on my mandrel for whatever ring size the person's needing. And then I just take my wax pen and I fill in the gap. It's really that simple. Find and cut gemstones, that's cool. Cutting gemstones, that's a lot of work. Let's see. Hello, Andrew. Got a bunch of garnets yesterday. Oh, I love garnets. I love rhodolite garnets. They're so pretty. Let's see. A lot of ways to create wax carved jewelry without the expense. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Especially if you're sending it to someone else to be cast and you're not casting it yourself and you just pay the fee to have it cast. It's very, very attainable. Let's see. Hi. What kind of stones do you use? All kinds. I've been using a lot of peridot recently. Since we're on the live, I haven't showed anyone these new earrings, but I'll show you guys since we're, these are the new ones. I've been using a lot of peridot recently, but these are a flower. I don't know if you can tell from far away, but I use a lot of peridot recently. That's what I've noticed people have liked, but I use a lot of Montana sapphire. I love that. And moissanite and pink tourmaline. I love pink, so I've been using a lot of pink tourmaline as well. All sorts of stones, rhodolite garnets, topaz, blue topaz, anything of color pretty much. I love color. Let's see. You can also polish wax to make it super polished. Yes, like using coffee filters so that when it comes out, it's almost finished. Yeah, and you can also like take a lighter, like for this signet ring, I ran, I got it all nice and smooth, filed it up, used a blade to file it even more, and then I took a lighter and I got close but not too close, and if you run a lighter across your ring before you're done, it'll smoothen it out really, really well as well. Cabbing machine and a faceting machine, that's very cool. I don't know if I'd ever have the patience for it, but I've seen people do it, and that's a really great skill to have. Here, okay. I haven't started making jewelry yet, but I want to start. It's so much fun. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love them so much. I love big jewelry, and I know not everyone does, so it's always a risk to do it, but sometimes you just have to make what you want to make and not, just let the people come that like it too. What gemstones do you prefer, standard cut, calves, or freeform? Let's see. Ever worked with an opal? Oh, I love opals. I've worked with so many Australian pipe opals. They're my favorite. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's cool. I've never worked with freeform stones, only like faceted stones and cabochon stones. I think faceted stones are probably my favorite. When I was first learning, cabochon were my go-to just because they're easier to set, but I think faceted are my favorite now. And Australian pipe opals. I am blown away with the color that you can get from those stones. I've got one right now that I want to make. It's going to be like a one-off piece, but I think they are one of the most special gemstones. Crazy. You ever tried clay casting? I've never tried like silver clay before. Never have. What are your thoughts on solid gold jewelry? It's great. I love solid gold jewelry. The gold jewelry that I make right now is solid 10 karat gold. So I think it's great. It's an investment. Any solid carat of jewelry is an investment. So yeah, but whatever people can afford. Let me know if you need any stones. Thank you. Do you have a video where you add gemstone to your wax carving and show how it works after it's made into silver jewelry? Yeah, if you watch my studio vlogs, you'll see me setting stones after casting. And actually, the studio vlog that I'm going to be posting this week, I had videoed over the last few days. I showed setting a stone after casting a prong setting, and setting a stone after casting a grain setting, and setting a stone after casting a flush setting. So that's going to be in my most recent studio vlog. But if you look back at my other videos too, I do show that. I may not always be like teaching in there, but if you just watch, you'll see what I'm doing and it'll help you learn. Honestly, that's how, like I'm self-taught, and that's how I learned the most, was watching people who weren't necessarily teaching, but watching them just to see what they're doing and what they're using. Even if their intention wasn't to teach, I would watch just to see like, oh, they're using like a stone setting burr for that, or they're using, what is that? And I would zoom in, or I think that's a great way to learn as well. Oh, thank you. Have a good day too. I am very well. Thank you so much. Take a look at her. I will look at them. Thank you for the recommendation for stones. Cool. I'm very happy to help. Let's see, let me add this wax in on this ring. We'll invest this here in a minute. Once I'm done with this ring, we'll add a sprue to these and invest it. I hope it's really nice wherever you guys are. It is a beautiful day here in Idaho. The sun is really shining. It's nice and hot. And I'm very eager to go out there later. I'm going to turn this camera back on for this vlog too. Close. You can see whenever I'm resizing a ring and I'm just needing to join up the two sides, I just crank up my wax pen to just get it super hot so I can pick up as much wax as possible. And I just join them together. I don't worry about how pretty it is at first because I can always clean it up later, but for the sake of speed, just slap it on there. What temperature do you recommend soldering iron to melt wax, especially green wax? I've never worked with green wax, but the temperature has to do a lot with what you're trying to do. So like, for example, right now I'm just trying to join these two ends and just build up wax on this side. So I'm turning it up, I would say, to like a high setting just to melt as much wax. But if I'm doing detailed work, like creating prongs, then I try and put it on the lowest setting, just enough to melt the wax so that it'll come off my pin. But for detailed work, you want to do a lower setting. And then for like actually creating the bulk of the ring, don't be scared to turn it up. I know y'all see my pen smoking a lot, but that's not, you don't really want your pen to smoke as much as mine is, but I'm supposed to keep a wet sponge next to me to wipe off the burnt wax. And I am just lazy sometimes and I don't go wet the sponge. But the temperature all depends on what you're doing. So just play around with your pen and figure out what's best for you. Let's see, have you done or plan on doing any CAD jewelry designs? Oh, I just talked to y'all about that, but I've thought about it. I want to learn really badly. I think it'd be cool, but when I think about it and just thinking about what I should be doing with my time at this moment in time, I need to focus on, I have a focus problem, okay? I start things, and when I feel like, okay, I've got that down, I move on. And I never let myself get like really, really good at something. You know what I mean? At least that's how I feel. So I'm trying to like be more in control of my focus and just like stay committed to one thing for more than just a few weeks. And so as much as I would love how to use CAD, I know that right now it doesn't even really fit into my style of work. So I'm not saying no, I think one day it'd be really cool, but just not right now. Let's see, have you done blah, 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 blah. Love your content so much. Do you still use spirit lamp to melt? Oh, thank you so much, Amanda. I don't use my spirit lamp anymore. If my electricity was out and I needed to make a piece of jewelry, then I'd use it. But honestly, my wax pen, I've grown accustomed to it so much, I don't think I could ever go back. But if you are needing to start on a budget, you can do everything that I'm doing with this wax pen with that spirit lamp. So I've just been spoiled at this point. But you can do everything you need to do with a spirit lamp that I'm doing with the wax pen. What size of your saw blades for beginner? What saw blades would you recommend for silver or 18 karat gold? I'm confused as to what saw blades I should buy. And okay, so if you guys don't know, and you do not have to do this, but I have a subscription on Instagram. It's $9 a month, but I post tips videos every week in there that are like very specific tips in reels. And I have a whole video on blades and what you need to know about blades and what, you know, all the stuff about blades. So if you're interested in learning and you don't have the money to spend hundreds of dollars or thousands on online schools, then I think the subscription is great. But if you don't have the money to do it, obviously, I try and share as much as I can here on YouTube. But for saw blades, I think Pepe Tools has the best saw blades for beginner. Well, saw blades for anyone, like I use them, but they help you know what blades to use because they're called nano blades, but on the packaging it tells you what gauge of metal you should be using for each blade. But pretty much you want to make sure you always have 3 teeth on your metal at a time. So like, for example, if I'm filing something like this size and I'm using, well, I guess that's too big, Jesus. Okay, here, if I'm filing a ring that's this size, but I'm using a saw blade that has giant teeth and there's only 1 tooth on contact with this little ring, then it's gonna go and it's gonna break. So you wanna use a saw blade that has teeny tiny teeth so that you have at least 3 contacting your ring at one time, and that'll make sure that you always get like a smooth saw experience. I don't know. But so your smaller blades obviously are going to be for your smaller pieces of work or your thinner sheets of silver, and then your bigger blades are going to be for your heftier pieces of jewelry. So let me see. I've got some blades right here. helpful. So like these nano blades, so this is a size 2, and these have teeny tiny teeth, and it tells you on here, use with a 16 or 18 gauge thick wire. The thickness 0.01 inches. Tells you the blade dip. It tells you how many teeth per inch. So it just gives you more. I feel like a lot of saw like blades, when you buy them from other places, they just show you a picture. And if you're new and you don't know what a size 2 or 3 is, or a 0.2 or a 0.3, I guess like this, I think the more you get to the zeros, like the 0.1s or 0.2s, 0.3, the more you get down there, the bigger the blades get, if that makes sense. I don't know if I made that more complicated than it needed to be. But my video on Instagram is way more thought out. But the higher up you go in number, the smaller the teeth are, and then the lower you go and the further below 0 you get, the bigger the teeth are. But I think these help explain like the nano blades. If you go on Pepe Tools website, even if you don't buy these, if you go on their website, they have a good description of what blades to get. But I always have, I would say a 2, and then maybe a 1, and then maybe like a good, like having one pack of big ones, like a 0.2 or something is a good variety. Yes, I think solid gold wears better than filled gold and is reflected by the cost. Yeah, yep. See, can you explain everything about the pan, that pan that you're using? The pan that you're using. What pan are you talking about? Or do you mean, oh, the pin? Okay, sorry, I said pan. Are you talking about this pin? If you're talking about this pin, I did talk about it earlier, but it's the Touch-O-Matic pin from Pepe Tools. And when the light's off, it's not going to heat up, but when you grab it, it turns orange and it starts to heat up. It's really, really, really nice pin. Very convenient. Gets super, super, super hot, and it has 4 different pin tips that you can change to. So, yeah, it's the Touch-O-Matic pin from Pepe Tools, and I do have an affiliate link, not in this description, I haven't done this description yet, but in some of my more recent studio vlogs, if you want to use that, it would be helpful, but it is a really, really good pin. Let's see. Have you ever tried the Antex Wax Master for wax carving? I don't know what that is. Antex Wax Master. I don't know. Is that like a wax type, or is that, I don't know what that is. Could you tell me what that is, Helen? I need to go to sleep, thanks. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Have a good night's sleep. Rio Grande has a nice chart on saw blades. Search Rio Grande saw blade chart and first, there you go. There are good resources online for sure. This does not inject wax. I use just a little block and I dip, and then I, fill in wherever I'm needing to fill in. But no, it doesn't inject wax. I just dip into a little block of wax. Do you full-time for your jewelry business, or do you still have other income? I'm busy making a business plan. I want to start on the financial parts this week. Info would help me. So I recently went full-time at the end of March, beginning of April. I was working a full-time job I started this 4 years ago with the clay, 3 years ago with silver, but I've been working full-time the entire time. For most of the time, I was going to school full-time. And this year in April, I was able to quit my job and do this full-time. So once I was able to cover the bills that I was used to paying, like I'm married, my husband works, and we don't like intentionally split our money or split bills. It just naturally is the way that it's always been. So once I was able to cover like the bills that I pay, and um, then I would also I don't know if y'all know, if you're new here or if you've watched my videos. I don't really know how the live works, if these are new folks or if y'all are people that are subscribed to me, but um, I was working. I wish I could share all the things, all the details of my last job, but it was truly a horrendous job. Like, one of the worst experiences of work in my entire life. And my coworkers are amazing. I loved the work. The work was really cool. I was working for a home builder. That's all I'll say. I was working for a home builder. So the work was great. It was fun. Coworkers, amazing. Boss, a full-on psychopath. So I was so desperate from like week 1 to get out of there. And I think that desperation like really got me in gear. And I think I was there for maybe 6 months or 7 months. And then everything just kind of picked up and fell into place for me with jewelry. And it makes me like feel emotional, like think about it, all the things that like everything I experienced for that long. And thankfully I was able to quit. So I am full-time, and I definitely recommend waiting until you can, like, obviously pay the bills. I know I'm very lucky that I do have a partner that works and can help with bills as well while I grow this. And I'm very thankful. Since I quit my job, everything has continued to grow, and it's just unreal. I didn't think I would be in this position for another like year or two maybe, and everything just really worked out for me. So I really, really, really hope that happens for you too. I hope everyone can do something every day that they love. So I hope that comes for you too. How do your design choices originate? Sketch, freeform, back and forth glance. Nope. So I dreams. Um, I don't draw anything for my designs. Most of the time, I just sit down and I just start playing with wax. I don't really have a direction. Usually, I'll know I want this one to be a ring or I want this one to be an earring. Sometimes I'll start a piece and I'll watch it kind of form, and I'll be like, oh, this is better as a ring or a necklace, or I'm in the mood to make a necklace today. I don't really have a design process. It just kind of comes as it comes every day, and I wish I had a different answer. There have been times where I've tried to jot something down if I had like a specific idea, but normally it's not like that. I just sit down, start playing, and then it just comes to me. If you don't have the budget to buy that pen, what would you advise? I advise a spirit lamp, and where did I put? Oh, I advise a spirit lamp, and you can get this on Amazon. You pour denatured alcohol in this and you just light it, and it stays lit for a good while. And then buy some dental carving tools on Amazon as well. You can get a cheap set. And I do recommend this little battery operated pen. This is what I would only use for detailed work. So like creating prongs or granulation or repairs. If maybe your ring, while it's in wax, it breaks. I would get these two. You can get them on Amazon with dental tools and some files, like a cheap file set. And that's what I would use. That's what I used in the beginning before I got this pen. Does a wax and silver use the same kind of saw blades, or do they have different? They have different saw blades technically. I've bought wax blades in the past, but technically they cut faster through wax, but I use my jeweler saw blades all the time, and I don't really feel like it's necessary to buy wax saw blades separately. I mean, I use my jeweler ones all the time, but technically, yes, they do have different ones. Off the top of yours, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. A get ready with me. Oh my goodness, I don't. Maybe I would do that one day, but I will be super honest with you guys. I am not someone who feels very confident without my makeup on. So the thought of like doing my makeup with you guys, ooh, that's a scary thought. But this is very personal, but I used to have really, really, really bad acne, like when in my early 20s. It was so bad that I had to take, what's it called? Isotretinoin, what's it called? It's a really strong pill. Oh, you probably already know in your head. It's a pill that you have to take for acne, but you can only take it if it's dermatologist recommended. Accutane, that's the one, Accutane. I had to take Accutane. And so my skin's really clear now, but it just made me really insecure about myself without makeup on. So I think I still feel that, even though my skin is clear. So maybe I'll do it one day just to like get over that, but oof, scary. But thank you. Let's see. Get ready with GRWM means get ready with me. Let's see. They do sell special saw blades for wax. Yeah. Normal saw blades for silver, gold, copper. Normal saw blades for silver, gold, copper, and brass don't work as well for wax. They get gunky and snap easier. I mean, I don't know. That hasn't been my experience. I use my normal saw blades all the time, but I don't know. Maybe just try both. I'm in love with earrings and your jewelry making. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Would you consider making a custom engagement ring? I'm not doing customs right now. I'm not saying I wouldn't consider it. I just worry with customs. I worry with customs because I've done custom pieces in the past, and sometimes people come to you with a custom idea that doesn't fit your style at all, like at all, and then I don't like telling people no. So if someone brings me an idea and that's not even in my wheelhouse, I would feel so bad saying I don't think I could do that, or that's not even my style. If I open customs, it would have to be with the knowledge that people want what I have to offer, if that makes sense. And you'd think that that'd be a given, that people would just come to you because they like my molten textures, or but not all the time. People come to you and they're like, can you make this ring? And it looks like something from K Jewelers. And if you look at my website, that's not what I make at all. But I wouldn't say no. Honestly, I'd be honored to make wedding jewelry. I've thought about doing like a line of wedding engagement rings, like in my style, that people can choose to buy if they want. But I'm scared of customs, I'm not gonna lie. But you know what, if you're interested in a custom ring and you like my style of jewelry and you genuinely want something that's more like a molten-y texture, or even like a solid band, but something that is my style, email me and I will talk to you about it. So if you're watching this video, then you know how I feel, so I know that you appreciate thoughts on that. So let's see. Love the ring. Here's like a video. Oh, thank you so much. You definitely can. I really genuinely think, if you're someone that's been watching my videos, you know that I didn't like, jewelry making came out of the blue for me. So if it's something that you've been wanting to do for a long time and you've had a desire for it or a talent for it, then you are like that much better off than me, because I never wanted to do this. It just kind of fell in my lap and I just got obsessed. And so if you have an interest in it, I definitely encourage anyone to get started and just see where it goes. Thank you. Yeah, spiral wax blades like that, for if you're cutting like a huge block, it is helpful. I'm usually though cutting off like rings from a circle ring spool or whatever. Oh, thank you. I started using wax maybe 2 years ago. I did like clay for a year, and then I did normal like silver smithing with like turquoise and bezels, and I did that for a year, and then I had started with wax like 2 years ago, so it's still very new to me. And then casting, I started that in October, so that hasn't even been a year for me. But I was talking about that focus problem with you guys earlier, and that kind of tells you a little bit about my focus problem. Yeah, bigger saw blades. Whenever I'm cutting wax, I do use the bigger ones. Yeah, I agree with you about the smaller wax blades, not using the, or smaller blades, not using them on wax. Have you worked in stainless steel? Nope, that hasn't been asked yet. I've never worked in stainless steel. The thought hasn't even crossed my mind, to be honest. I don't really know anything about stainless steel jewelry. I'm assuming it's cheaper than silver, but hypoallergenic, so a good option. But so far I've only worked with sterling silver, 9 karat gold, and 10 karat gold. But no like brass or stainless steel. I don't know. I'm trying to like stay in the affordable range, but also move up a little bit. I'd like to work with like 14 karat gold as well, or 18 karat or 24 karat gold, like higher carats of gold. I should start offering it on my website because there's no reason not to at least offer it, but that high price tag scares me sometimes because I want to price my jewelry at what they should be priced at, but at the same time I also want to be attainable for a lot of people, but that's not always realistic. But offering it as an option on my website doesn't hurt anybody. It just makes it an option for people that can afford it or want to invest in it. But never worked in stainless steel. Hi, Vanessa. Oh, thank you so much, Destiny. I appreciate that. Vanessa with Love Jewelry, she has a YouTube channel as well. And if y'all haven't seen her jewelry, you should definitely go check it out. She does like fabrication of jewelry. She's a really, really good jeweler. And she's self-taught as well. So she's kind of sharing her journey, kind of similar as she learns. And yeah, I definitely recommend her. If you're wanting to go down like the silversmithing, fabricating road, like making really intricate settings from just straight metal and stuff, she's got a really great YouTube channel. It's true. How do you polish the inside of the rings? What's the best method in your opinion? Because that's what I struggle with the most. So for the inside of my rings, well, when I polish, I use, what's it called? Gosh, I always forget the name of these little ones. But I use these little sanding wheels, and they have each color is a different grit. These are both purple. This one's just a dirtier purple than this one. But I use this one for the outside of my rings, and sometimes I've cut these to fit, but sometimes I just use the ones that I wore down, but this will fit inside of almost any ring. And I have one for each color, a small one, so that I can get on the inside of the rings. And then whenever I polish, my polishing wheel fits inside my rings. So I use their faux leather polishing mop wheels that attach into my pendant motor. And with those, I can get inside the ring with the compound. So I guess just finding something small enough to get in there. Oh, let's see. Finding a style for yourself is one of the most important things. Or just keep at it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, finding my style took the longest, I think. But I always knew, like while I was making my jewelry, I always knew, like, oh, I like the way this turned out, but this isn't me. You know, this is pretty, but it's not, I'm not there yet. I always knew that I wasn't there, which made it that much better whenever I was, you know, I started making things and I was like, this is it. This is what I've been wanting. This is what I want to wear. This is what I would see at a jewelry shop and, you know, want to buy. So if you feel like you haven't found your style yet, just keep playing, keep learning, keep trying new things. Sometimes it'll be a blend of two things, but just keep playing and you will find it for sure. Thank you. Let's see. Thank you so much, Debbie. Let's see. I didn't know that. Or cut them. I can't. Yeah, none of my wheels fit. Oh, I do use suede leather ones you recommended. Are your rings really small? I don't know. I know I can put my little mop wheels in there. Um, I'm not sure how else to do it other than that. Oh, good night. Have a good night, Ian. I'm trying to find something cool to make that will challenge me. Do you have any suggestions? So I would say just doing anything outside of your norm. Like, for example, these earrings, I normally do like that molten texture on my jewelry, but then I felt the same. I felt like I needed to challenge myself a little bit. I've never carved anything that was an object, and so carving this flower was a really fun thing that was outside of my norm. So I would just suggest that, just doing something different than you normally do. Um, I'm making an order. I'm making the Napoli ring. I'm just resizing it, but trying to get the texture right to match the rest of the ring. Let's see. I've been recording that whole time. Oh my god, it's gonna be like 45-minute long clip. Let's see. Love from the UK. He's not trying to do. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. Oh, you definitely can. You absolutely can do it for sure. If it's something that you're passionate about and you've got the drive to do it, you 1000% can do it. And what part of the UK are you from? Thank you. Not jewelry at all. What hair tools do you use? Oh, thank you so much. I use a straightener. I have a straightener, one of those straighteners that just has like the rounded edge, not like a flat one, if that makes sense. And I just take it and I curl it and I drag it down and I just stop right before I get to the ends. Sometimes I go all the way to the ends, but I just use a straightener and I think it's just faster and it lasts a lot longer like the curls do. So yeah, just a straightener. But thank you. Whew. I'm getting so hungry, y'all. But I can't stop. I need to finish this and invest it before I can feed myself. Wanting to make videos of me making jewelry, except the camera gets in the way. How do you use it? Yeah, I have that problem all the time with the camera getting in my way as well. If you're filming with an actual camera and not your phone, I recommend having a lens. If you have a camera that has like actual lenses that you can switch out. Getting a zoom lens has been so helpful for me because then I can put the camera kind of far away and then just zoom in really close. So I use this Canon 80D and I can zoom in really far. It goes to 135 millimeters. So having like a good zoom will help you, or having, if you're filming with your phone, getting one of those holders that clamps to your desk and has that big flexi head, then you can like suspend it over you and it won't be around your hands. So that's what I use. You're so sweet, Vanessa. Okay, I'm in the UK Jewelers Academy Business Bootcamp. Oh, cool. I've joined a lot of business groups. Have a good day in the UK. Where are you guys from in the UK? In the east of Midland. Oh yeah, I have no idea where East Midland is. I don't know who on here has been following or anything, but I used to live in the UK, and so anytime I see it still feels like a home away from home. So anytime I see you guys and you're like, I'm in the UK, I'm like, oh, come get me and take me back to my old home. But I love England, and I have such fond memories there, and the people were so nice, and I really hope to go back one day. It does feel good to be home. But y'all got a really fun thing going over there too. Have you always been a creative person in music or writing? Absolutely not. I talk about that too a little bit in my video about how I got started making jewelry, but I've never considered myself a creative person, like ever, ever, ever. And like growing up, I wasn't a drawing person, a drawer, an artist. I wasn't into anything. I didn't have any hobbies. I think I just hung out with my friends and that's it. I didn't play sports, I didn't do anything. And I always was someone that said like, I'm not creative, or I'm just not a creative person, or I always felt that way about myself. And knowing what I do now for a living, it's really funny. But I think everyone is capable of being creative. I think it's just something that we don't all get to practice very often, whether like that's because you didn't have the opportunity in school, or maybe you didn't seize the opportunity in school, or maybe you just weren't brought up in like a playful household, or you know, it is all there though. I think for everyone. I think you just have to like pick something to play with and just let yourself have fun. I think everyone is creative. I think you just have to try something. And now that jewelry making is my job, like obviously it's still fun. It definitely hasn't taken the fun out of it, and I really hope it never does, but I still have fun with it. But I would love to get into like pottery, just something more freeing, you know, doing something because I want to, not because I have to. But no, I was not a creative person. Let's see. Oh, hi, nice to meet you. How do you see stuff you have been making? Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I do see myself differently now than I did when I was a kid. But it does make me know now that like it's not just me. Like I'm not special. I'm not special. You know what I mean? Like you can be creative too. Anyone can be creative. You just have to like want to play, if that makes sense. So, but thank you. I really appreciate that. It's very, very sweet of you. Okay, I think this one's supposed to be an 8.5. Let me just double check it. Let's see. 8.5. I'm just pulling up Shopify over here on the side. Hi, Corin. Corin or Corinne? I'm sorry. Tell me number 1 or number 2, Corin or Corinne. Let's see. So this one is supposed to be an 8.5. So I'm going to go ahead and file the inside. Not this one. I'm going to file the inside and smooth it out first, and then I'll resize it. First one, okay, cool, thank you. I'm sorry. Let's see. Being Goldsmith's not easy task. It's also so good to see you working live. Oh, thank you. I need to do this more often because I really do have fun talking with everyone and seeing where everyone's from, and I will try and do these more often. It's just that now that I'm doing this full time, I'm usually working, Monday through Friday until 5 or 6 o'clock, and so I don't want to go live when everyone's at work, but I guess I could go live around 4, because then it would be, most people are off by then, because I'm on the West Coast, so I'm a little bit behind everyone, but yeah. Just smoothing out the inside of this band before I make it bigger. These wolf wax tools are really, really nice they just have so many different shapes and for so many different purposes. And at first you open it and you're like, what in the world will I use all of these for? But you really do end up finding a purpose for all of them. Do you have a specific routine before you start working to get in the zone? Ooh, coffee, girl, that is my life. Drink some coffee. I need to put exercise somewhere in there. But no, I put on a show, like a good movie or a good show, and I just get started. I don't really have like a routine or anything. I probably should, but I don't. Let's see. I'm at work watching, oh, a nice girl, get paid and watch YouTube. I like it. Thank you for, as a beginner, should I start with silversmithing or wax casting? I think you can start with either one. I will say that like silversmithing gave me a lot of good skills that transferred over to wax casting or wax carving, but you can absolutely start with just wax carving. If you know that that's probably the road you want to go down, then sure, why not start with wax carving, and then you're gonna have the same obstacles that you do with silversmithing either way, so you might as well start with what you're more interested in if it is wax carving. If you're wax carving, the main thing you're going to need to know how to do is just properly file and saw off sprues. And if you're setting stones, I mean, honestly, it really won't matter which one you start with. If you, yeah, whatever you're more like drawn to, I guess. After you make your wax pieces, how do you pick it up without breaking it? Like how do I take it off the mandrel? I usually grab it from all the sides. A lot of people say that they have trouble with it breaking when they take it off. If you grab it though some people will take it off like this and it'll break, or like this and it'll break, but it's because you're putting pressure on like not enough points. So I usually have a habit of grabbing it like this from the back, all sides, and I'll put my thumbs like right here and I'll just pull all together. I think also though, sometimes people are pulling it off a little too soon after you're working with it, and it'll still be a little bit warm and it'll break. So just make sure you let it cool enough. But also if it's breaking like every time, maybe you're not using a hard enough wax. Maybe your wax is too soft. Desperation struggles recruits. Yes. Thanks, Vanessa. I think lives are fun. And it's funny though, because I've gone live on Instagram. Never gone live on TikTok, but YouTube is way more fun. I think we can all agree in like every way. It's way more fun than all the other platforms. Do you ever use hard solder? I found it incredibly difficult. All the videos I found only really show easy. So the only time I used hard solder was when I was like making bezels and silversmithing. I would use hard solder as the first soldering step. So like when you think about making a bezel cup, the first thing you solder together is your bezel strip. So you would want that to be hard because after soldering your bezel strip, you have so many other steps of soldering. You don't want that solder strip to break. So that's really the only time I use hard solder was like in those first steps of soldering. So like soldering solder strip, or I wouldn't use hard solder soldering the strip onto the plate because then you run the risk of your bezel strip breaking open. So other than that though, I don't really have any other reasons to use hard solder. I usually just use easy. Or I would sometimes use like medium if I'm soldering on prongs and I didn't want like one prong to melt before I got to the last one. So then I'd use like medium, easy, and then super easy. And you can do it like that as well. But once you get used to soldering and you know how to control your flame and pointing your flame in the right place, you could use easy all the way around. I think making bezel cups is where it's more important than any other area of soldering. Let's see. Oh, she gets you nodding as you're talking. You're welcome. I've got some serious country music going on over here. I don't know if y'all can hear it. Just like using easy all around, you can use hard all around. It's all I use. Yeah, it's all personal preference. Like whatever works for you, do it. And I mean, she's the soldering queen, by the way. She does a lot of soldering, so definitely go with her recommendation, because the only time I really solder anymore, now that I'm using more waxwork, is soldering prongs, or if I need to resize a ring, soldering. So yeah, just play around, see what works for you. But how do you put the gem inside the wax piece? So putting stones in wax. Oh, there's so many ways that you can do it. You can like drill a hole for the stone, and or even just like carve out a hole for the stone. And then sometimes, I've been doing this more recently just because it's fast. But sometimes, and actually I did an example of it a long time ago for the subscriber tips thing, but you can drill a hole for your stone. I have a stone in here right now. And then you can take, like just set it right there over the hole, and then take your pin when it's hot, or if you're using the dental tools and you heat it up, you don't want to do too much heat because you don't want to damage your stone, but just the slightest amount of heat. and just press it down on your stone, and it will warm up that stone and create a perfect impression on the inside. And that's how I've been doing it recently, just to save time. You also can set your stone upside down on the table, and I do that usually right here. That's why I have a piece of tape right here. I'll put my stone upside down, and then I'll heat up my pen really, really hot and drop a big giant blob of wax. And you can hold the face down with sticky tack and then just drop a big blob of wax on it. Just make it really messy, just big blob. And then you can pick it up, and then your stone is inside in like a perfect impression setting. And then you can clean up that blob, whether you're filing it away or like if you're making a pendant or something, or earrings. I do that a lot. And then if I'm making a ring, sometimes I'll form the ring on the band just like I kind of did here. And then I'll just pierce a hole, put the stone in and press it in. You can do it like that. Or you can, if your stone is big, you can sticky tack your stone onto your mandrel and it'll stand straight up. Sticky tack it and then melt wax all the way around it and then form your band and then file it away and make it however you'd like, whether you want it to be super smooth or whatever texture you're wanting. There's so many ways, and that's where just kind of playing and having fun comes into play. Like that's the best way to learn how to do all of those things. It's just playing. I found that easy solder doesn't take oxidation very well in case you want to blacken your piece. Oh, I've never noticed that because I've never patinaed any of my pieces. So that's good to know that that happens. Do you know material? Okay, well, I know it's super deceiving because I get this all the time and I totally get why, but my name is not Matera and that's totally fine. Not trying to correct you at all. That's just my jewelry name, Matera Made. It means mother in Greek. And so, yeah, but my name is not Matera. Common misunderstanding, and I'm sorry. I feel like that's my own fault. But my name is Adriana. But let's see. Jewelry work is so cheap that it makes a standalone worker so hard to work. Oh, I totally get that. That does make a lot of people's stuff hard to buy because there are so many cheap like dupe options or like plated jewelry and stuff like that. But I do think there's a market for everything, and some people, even though there are cheaper options, like this ring for example, you could probably find a signet ring on Etsy that's plated in silver for like $1.50. But there are a lot of people that will find value in something that's handmade and solid silver or like just of quality that will buy your stuff. So I do know it makes it harder when you're in those countries where everything is affordable. But I don't think that should discourage you from trying because there will always be those people that see value in what you make. What sticky tack do you use? I just use normal sticky tack like from Walmart, blue tack, but any sticky tack will work. Just blue tack. Oh no, don't say sorry. I didn't even know if I should say anything. I know that a lot of people think my name is Matera, and that's totally fine. I mean, that's a cool name too, but it's not, but it's totally fine. I wanted to name my jewelry brand after myself, but the name was already taken. And even my middle name, my middle name is Rose. And so I thought like Adriana Rose Jewelry. And that one wasn't taken, but there's an Adrian Rose, and he makes really good jewelry, by the way. If you haven't seen him, I found him on Instagram, but he makes beautiful jewelry, so I couldn't do that. And then so I was, kind of stuck on that. So I just picked a name and moved on. you. The names of my jewelry, I don't have like a method or anything. I used to. I would just name them after people in my family or friends, and I still do that sometimes. Sometimes I'll name them after cities that I love or like that fit the ring. Like for this one is the Bogota ring, and that's just because emeralds. It's a Colombian emerald, or a lab grown Colombian emerald, and so I was like, oh, Colombia, you know. So it's not always like super deep. So, but sometimes I don't know. I'm just like a city or a person, and then I go from there. Watching. Thank you. You come out from the beginning of she first opened her jewelry store 15 years ago. Oh, thank you so much. That's so cool. A whole store? Was it her own, like, was she making jewelry? And thank you. And thanks for being here for so long. If you've been watching me from the beginning, that's a year ago. Thank you. Do you feel you need to make items for specific markets, like male or female or kids, even business-wise? No, I've always just made what I like, and I am a girl, and so it's always just been jewelry geared to females. I have a men's ring, and I would like to make more men's jewelry, but my husband doesn't like jewelry, and so I can't, like, if he liked jewelry, then I'd be more inspired to make rings for him, and then that would bring more rings to my website. But I would like to make more jewelry for men for sure. But I've always just made what I would like to wear, and so it's just always been geared toward women. But what's your opinion on lab-grown gems? I love lab-grown gems. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. They are the same like mineral makeup of the stone that comes out of the ground. So it's the same quality, same materials. It just happened to be grown in a lab and is a fraction of the price. Yes, please. I mean, I've always been someone who purchased like costume jewelry, and like I've always shopped affordably. So anytime I see something that is of the same quality but a fraction of the price, I feel like it's a no-brainer. There's always going to be people who want like the real thing that came out of the dirt, and that's totally fine. But I always want my jewelry to be attainable for most people. So if using lab-grown gems that are of quality and are real, then I don't mind using lab-grown gems at all. I won't use synthetic gems, like gems that are just like plastic or glass. I'll never use that. But I do not mind using lab-grown gems at all. I like them a lot. Let's see. Her jewelry showcase of silver. She does more reselling, and we also buy silver and gold to make a profit of that as well. That is very cool. We have a jewelry does repairs and custom work. That is very cool. Good for her. It's always scary to start your own business and like bet on yourself. So that's always super impressive when people do it, especially opening a storefront, which is scary. Like I hope it's going really well for her. Always. Hi, Ada. I recognize your profile photo. It's good to see you here. Jeweler. That's what I want to become, but I'm stuck. I do the back inventory. Why do you feel like you're stuck? Because if you want to give it a shot, why not? What are you stuck on? Is it with time, or what do you feel like you're stuck on? Yeah, great quality with lab-grown gems. There's stuff in my hair. I think that's wax. Yeah, lab-grown stones are really good quality. Same mineral makeup, a fraction of the price. I'll take it any day. It's like comparing gold to plated. Comparing lab gems to real earth gems is like comparing gold to gold plated. But if it's the same mineral makeup, then what's the difference? I mean, if you know something I don't, please educate me. But if they are the same mineral makeup, are they really? I mean, I think the perceived value is different, natural versus not natural, but right, y'all. These are ready for some sprues. I believe lab grown is more ethical labor wise. I don't like to get into the ethical talk. I mean, labor wise, yeah. I've heard a lot about them, a lot of water being used, or I don't know. I don't like to talk about things that I don't know a whole lot about. All I know is that it's the same mineral chemical makeup. Like you said, no one else is involved in digging it up. But the affordability is just insane. The affordability is awesome. And why shouldn't like beautiful jewelry and quality jewelry be attainable, you know? I don't know. To me, it's almost like the designer route. Like you see a Coach purse and people are paying like the price of a car for one, but at the end of the day, it's just a leather purse. So I could go buy another leather purse for like $100, and at the end of the day, I still have a leather purse. Just one has a name brand on it and the other doesn't. So you know what I mean. I like making affordable jewelry for people, and if using lab grown gems is a part of that process, then I'm totally fine with it. And I'm always super open that if I'm using a lab gem, it always says lab gem on there. And I try to educate people like with articles about lab gems, but if people want to buy it, then they'll buy it, and if they don't, then they won't. If the same mineral makeup, the price gap wouldn't be so huge. It's just a fact that you can look it up. Same mineral makeup, it's just the perceived value. People want to pay more for what came out of the ground. Ooh, wax on my hair. So I don't know. Favorite part of the making process: wax, casting, setting, polishing. Oof. I love the wax part. I like just sitting down and making it. And every other part is fun and fine, but I've always enjoyed the wax part because then I can just put something on and sit, and it's really therapeutic, like watching wax melt. So I think that's my favorite part. Thank you, Ray. I agree. I feel like a lot of natural gemstones are the same. It's like pearls back in the 1900s. They used to be worth a lot until the Japanese started farming pearls, so the price went down. I buy my gems from Rio Grande, a lot of them, and then some from Etsy. Do you think about being an independent jewelry designer? Ooh, most difficult thing about being an independent jewelry designer is having to market your own jewelry. Like, you're not just a jewelry designer. You don't get to just make jewelry. You have to like be a photographer and a marketer and everything, an editor and an email writer and a customer service person. Like, you're everything, and you have to be at least good at it all for it all to work. So I think that's the hardest part. Like, not making jewelry isn't even, making jewelry is like 20% of my job, and then everything else takes over, and that's the crappy part. I'm not complaining. All the parts are fun. I don't mind email marketing or like social media. It just, sometimes I just want to make jewelry, but you have to be everything. How much time do you dedicate to your work? As being a married woman, it's difficult to keep up with your kids, family, and partners. How do you manage your time? Ooh. Okay, so when I was working full time, I would work from, I'd leave home at like 7, I'd get home at 6, I'd make dinner, I'd hang out with everyone until everyone went to bed, and then I usually stayed up until like midnight or 1 o'clock. And that was what I did for almost the full 3 years. And then there were times where I would like start to burn myself out and I'd have to just take a week where I didn't do anything of that sort. Also had to like let go of the things that were taking up my time that didn't help me. Like my house was dirty for a long time because dishes were not at the top of my priority list. So yeah, just making like my kid and my husband obviously the priority at home. Like cleaning was not the priority, and thankfully no one here, I live with a bunch of boys, no one cares if there's dishes in the sink. So also my husband's super helpful, he does like his fair share of everything. But staying up really late and working on the weekends was how I did everything. Now that I work full time, it's amazing. I got my weekends with my kid back, and with my husband back. I don't have to worry about what I should be doing here on the weekend. I mean, I'm here right now just because my husband's having fun in our shop messing with cars and stuff. But my balance is way better now. But I have a very supportive family, so very nice. Hi. Yeah. Nope. Let's see. I recommend those. Yeah, so just to finish off that question, sorry, Tom, he said, are you done? I said, no. Just to finish off that question about like making it all work, I think having family that understands what you're doing and is supportive, it makes it so much easier. I was never made to feel guilty for staying up super late or for wanting to do my work on the weekend. I was always so supported, like, and encouraged. And I think that helped so much. And yeah, and that didn't mean I didn't have like times where I was like super stressed and like crying because I had schoolwork to do and I felt like I wasn't spending enough time with people. And I think it all just comes back down to being supported and letting go of things that aren't that important, like chores, and like household stuff. Like everyone can pitch in enough to get it all done, but just letting go of things that don't matter, like that. In the stones for casting, is a stone used for cassette casting lab stones? So some of them aren't. My sapphires aren't lab grown. They're all like natural from the dirt. I use moissanite, which are lab grown stones. And I use lab emeralds a lot, which are lab grown stones. So yeah, a lot of mine are lab grown stones actually. Marketing is exhausting. Yeah, marketing is, and it never ends. And sometimes you'll have an email that does really well or a video that does really well. And then you're like, well, gotta do that again, like forever, keep creating emails, keep creating videos. And sometimes it just can feel like a hamster wheel. But I think if you learn to love it, like if you find things to like about it, it makes it easier. How long did it take you to start up your website? I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks. I used a template. I bought a template for like $90, and that helped a lot get like the bulk of it done. And then YouTube and Google was my best friend with like setting up the automatic like pop-up thing or setting up my emails and stuff. Yeah, I never want to touch the back end of a website ever again, but it was about 2 weeks. The price of gems come from their scarcity. Lab gems are cheap because there's an unlimited supply of them. Thank you. Yep, great example. Great example. Supply and demand. But the chemical makeup is still the same. Lab gems are chemically, physically, and optically identical to their natural counterparts. Cheaper because, thank you. Come through, everybody. Come through. I can end the situation being it. So, yeah. Do you have a video on what to do with all the fine silver gold dust you make? While crafting, always wonder. I don't have a video about it, but I have a catch tray like under my jeweler's bench, and it catches all my like clippings and dust and stuff. And you can put that all in a bag and you can mail it out to be recycled. I know Rio Grande will take it and recycle it for you and send you money, which is really nice. I melt down most of my scraps whenever I'm casting. I'll mix it in with my casting grain, but you can always mail it away. Have you tried online ads? And yes, how to work for it? I've never tried any online ads. I've never tried those. But if anyone else has, let me know if it's gone well for you. Awesome that you have great support. What is the next big step / dream for your business if you care to share? Okay, I'm torn. I've thought since I started casting that I might want to start casting for others. I would really love to start like not a new business, but like a section of my business, I guess, that's casting for other people. I'm just so scared of offering a service that where I'm like taking someone else's work. I'm scared to fuck it up pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what is like scaring me the most. But if I'm not messing up my own jewelry, then I guess I wouldn't be messing up anyone else's. So I really would like to offer casting services to other people. I've also thought of, I thought it'd be fun. There's a company called Carve and Cast in Australia. I don't know if anyone knows who she is, but I've thought of something like that. It's like a, she offers like a subscription box where she can send you wax rings and then you carve them at home and then mail them to her and she casts them. It's just for fun. And I thought something like that would be fun because there's a place here in town that offers, they do like silversmithing classes and they'll have, but it's more for like a girls' night out type of thing, and they'll have like 20 or 30 people there and they'll all be making like simple little rings. And I thought of approaching them and like doing like wax carving night and letting me cast all of their rings afterward. Just something like that, like something more involved with other people. I don't know, just some ideas in my head. But then I come back and I'm like, wait, you need to focus. Like, focus on what you're doing right now. Focus on your own jewelry. Focus on growing your own, you know, making new stuff. And I don't know, sometimes, like I said a few times in here, I have like a focus problem and I want to move on to the next thing. And I think it's something I've never done really in my life. And that's like when something's going well, just like sit with it, you know, and like cultivate that. So I'm trying just to stay where I'm at for a little bit longer before I go jumping into something new. But let's see. Thank you. Would you recommend Shopify versus Etsy to start a small? I got a whole video on Shopify versus Etsy, but I definitely recommend always having your own website so that you don't have to rely on Etsy. I got burned by Etsy and I could never trust them again. And that doesn't mean I don't think that you should use them if you don't have the means to start a website or have the time to start a website. I think that they are great to start together if you can. And I started mine together, and then anytime I got an order from Etsy, I would send them their jewelry and a thank you card that gave them a discount code on my website. And that's how I kind of took people from Etsy to my website. So if you start them together, I think that's the best bet. But start an Etsy knowing that it could be shut down on you at any moment, and they can hold your money whenever they want. So just do it with like caution and having some savings in your account. Yeah, but I do think they can be great to start together when you're just starting, but don't rely on them. Please don't rely. Can never do anything at the store. My mom always says there's something to do. It's either managing social media, inventory, repairs. Oh, that's it. We have 1,000+ pieces. I just want to be a bench jeweler. Oh, you know what? As a mom myself, if I had a business and I knew that my son wanted to do something else or had a different interest within the business of what I assigned to him, I would want him to be honest with me. So if you haven't already, I would hope that you would just be honest and say, this is what I want. This is my goal. I would like to be a bench jeweler. I'll be a bench jeweler for you when I'm done. But this is what I want. I would hope that she would say, go do it. You know, go do whatever you have to do to get that knowledge and come back, you know? So I don't let your family business though hold you back from what you want to do. And they will support you. I hope they would support you. And if they don't, you still got to go do what you want to do. So if you want to be a bench jeweler and you need to carve out like 2 days out of the week and your mom needs to hire a part-time person and you have a class that you go to, and you need to tell her, hey, I'm putting in an appointment because I've got on Wednesdays now this time. You know, you've got to take control of your own life at some point. and like make it happen for yourself, because no one else is going to do it for you. So find a school near you or start practicing yourself in the evening times after work. Just make it happen. I just made a wax piece for fun, but I don't have the fancy machines to turn into silver. Is there any way to do it without those? Yes, you do not have to have the machines to cast for yourself. Most people don't cast for themselves. They mail it out to a casting service. So when I was in England, I used Morel Casting, and they were great, and they would cast 1 or 2 pieces for me. When I came to the States, I had trouble finding any casting company that didn't want like a $500 minimum, or so in the States it was harder. If someone else has a casting company here in the States that they can recommend, Erin, I don't think it's Erin. Can you please tell me how to say your name? I'm so sorry. If anyone knows of a casting service, please put it in here. I'm pretty sure though that Rio Grande started a casting service, so hopefully they will cast 1 or 2 pieces for you, like a few pieces at a time, and don't need like a big chunk of jewelry to cast. But you can do it without it, and they'll just charge you a casting fee. So you don't have to have the machines. Have you tried attending fairs, and if so, how did it work? I did do markets when I was in the UK, and they did well, but as I started growing, I started making more expensive pieces, and I kind of priced myself out of markets. My jewelry now is around like the mid 200s to 800 sometimes if it's gold, but I don't really make any jewelry that I can sell at the markets anymore. When I was first going to the markets, I was making jewelry that was um, $20, $30, $40, and that sold really well. It was a great way to get like in-person feedback and to meet people in the community. So if you have that price point, that lower entry-level price point, then I think markets are great. They're really fun, and they're a good way to get yourself out there. But if you're making more expensive pieces, it can be hard to sell at markets because people are there to have fun and just spend like 20, 30, 40 bucks, not usually like a few hundred, if you know what I mean. Casting is a good business. A lot of people work from home, don't have a complete setup. Yeah. How was I burned by Etsy? I was burned by Etsy because they held all my money for months. I don't know why. I had an Etsy account for about 3 years, and then I regularly have been selling, and everything got mailed out on time, great reviews, and just randomly they held. I think I had a ring that started going a little bit viral on Etsy, and I started getting a bunch of sales. I don't know if it maybe triggered something in their background that made them hold my funds, but they held my funds for months, and they would only release like $10 or $15 at a time. And it was over $1,000. And thankfully I had enough money coming from my website to cover those sales. But if I didn't, I would have been so screwed. So I get holding money to like verify that someone's real on Etsy in the beginning, but if I'd already been selling for months or like years and had good reviews, why would you hold my money? It was very frustrating. And then when I moved to the States from England, they froze my shop without telling me because I changed my address, and they wanted to verify like who I was, which I get if you want to verify who I am, but I uploaded my ID, I uploaded everything, and they still froze my account. And I tried to call someone. I talked to someone on the phone. I had an email exchange, and no one could help me. I have a whole thing about it in a video, but no one would help me, and they just kept my account closed. So I closed it for good, since no one wanted to help me. But do you make custom name pendants? If so, I don't do anything with cat, and I don't do any name pendants. I'm sorry. Where's a good place to start up your own website? I tried to have my daughter help me set it up. I think Shopify is great. I've never really heard anything bad about Shopify. I've had a Shopify account too for about 4 years now, and I've never had any problems with them. They have really, really good customer service, always a human to talk to you. And then because it's so used, there's like tons of resources online. So if you need to know how to set anything up with Shopify, you can find a YouTube tutorial for it. So I definitely recommend Shopify. You spend in house. How much time do you usually spend in house? I think it'd be hard to go out for you, right? sometimes I'm just by myself all day and I only have myself to talk to, or if I'm like filming for you guys, I talk to myself a lot. And then I'm also in a new state where I don't really have any friends. I don't have any family here. So I don't really have any interaction with anyone other than y'all on the internet. So yeah, I am in the house like all day. My husband and I really like to drive around though, so sometimes when he gets off work, we'll go drive around and just talk. And so he is the only person I really talk to in person, other than my son. My son is about to be 9 years old, so, and it's summertime, so he's a fun conversationalist, but I am a very social person, and I love like having friends and having girlfriends, and so I do miss interacting with people in real life. So I don't know, maybe I should start like, I don't know. It's hard to make friends as a grown up, especially people that you genuinely like connect with and you actually like, and you're not just hanging out with because they're your forced coworker or, you know. And the people that I feel like I've connected with the most as an adult, they like live on the other side of the country, or they're internet friends, which actually I've made a lot of really good internet friends. Like Vanessa was in here earlier. I met her on Instagram and she's a silversmith and she's a really, really good friend, very good supporter, and we talk all the time. So internet friends have been great. I won't undervalue them at all, but I would like to meet more people in person too, so I don't turn into the crazy lady in my basement. Where's it go? I'm looking to start. Oh, there she is. So she's still here. I wish we lived closer too. I wish we lived closer too. Let's see. I'm looking to start a wholesale jewelry business. Any advice? I don't know anything about wholesale. I'm sorry. I think there's a website. There is a website kind of like Etsy. And you might have to Google it. And I'm sure it'll pop up if you Google it. I don't remember the name, but it's for small businesses that want to sell wholesale. I don't remember what it's called, but if you Google it, it definitely exists. It's a platform similar to Etsy, and people that are looking for wholesalers will go on the website and they'll search. So if I remember it in a minute, I'll say it, but just Google it and I think you'll find it. But they do have something like that. I'd start there. Hello from Ireland. Did you always have your own website in addition to Etsy, or how did you transition? No, I did them at the exact same time. I started them at the same time. Thank God. Are you from the USA? Yes, I'm from Southeast Texas. If you can't tell, anytime I say y'all to y'all, I think of my son. My son was not born in Texas, and he likes to make fun of me when I say y'all. So anytime I'm in here and I say it, I think about it, and I kind of make fun of myself in my own head. Because my son, if I say y'all, he says y'all. But I am from Southeast Texas. Y'all sounds normal to me. Good, I'm glad. Where are you from? How long did it take your business to start generating enough money to make it full time? It took me 4 years. And you know, don't let that discourage you, because it could take you 6 months. It could take you less. You could have a stroke of luck or hard work that makes a video go viral and your jewelry sells out, and then it just snowballs from there. Like, that actually happens for people. So don't ever like think that it can't, because if it happens for one person, it could happen for you. But it took me 4 years, and I kind of talked about this in my like how I got started video, but I'm really glad that I did not go viral in the beginning, or like that I didn't blow up in the beginning, because the jewelry I was making in the beginning wasn't the jewelry that I loved, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't, I was still finding my style. I was still finding what I liked. And if I would have gotten huge, then I would have been stuck making things that I didn't actually love, you know? So even if things aren't going at the pace that you want them to go, just always keep it in the back of your mind that like there's gonna be a reason, you know? There's some reason why, even if you don't know what it is now, like you're gonna make the best out of any situation. So if it's something that you love, just keep sticking with it. And as long as you never give up, you will be successful. I genuinely believe that. As long as you never give up and you just keep going, you just keep chugging along, it'll happen for sure. How old is your son? He's about to be 9 in August. He'll be 9. Grew up in Houston. Yay! I'm from close to Beaumont, so you know where that is. Did you find that your Etsy generated more sales more quickly than your website in the beginning, or honestly, I think my website did better than Etsy. But there was that one time where like one of my rings went kind of viral on Etsy, and I didn't have that virality on my website. Obviously, with your website, you have to drive your own sales, unlike with Etsy. So with Etsy, you always have that possibility of something happen, like something popping off, you know? Where with your website, it's always going to be directly driven from you. Like it's going to be a result of something you did. And that's both good and not good, you know? So that's why starting them both together isn't a horrible idea. It's just, you just sleep with one eye open. That's all I'm saying. Just sleep with one eye open when it comes to Etsy. I knew you're from Texas. Oh, cool. I'm from North. Oh, nice. Okay, North. My mom was born in Longview. I love. Are you from like northwest or northeast, like the Dallas area? I love meeting fellow Texans. I don't think we're special, but we're kind of special. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate that. Is there a jewelry artist that inspires your work or that you like? Ooh, there's so many good jewelers out there. Okay, there's a girl. Her name, oh, I don't remember her name. She makes, y'all might know her, and if not, you can find her on Instagram. Very unique, but she makes animal nose rings. So she makes like cow nose rings and cat nose and dog noses, and just very creative. And she carves them from wax too. And I've always loved her jewelry. And I can't think of the person's name. I can only think of their jewelry. Oh, the other girl's name's Catherine. I think Catherine Reed jewelry. Anyway, there's another girl that's there's another brand called Simuero. I think they're like a Spanish brand. Simuero. Anyway, they make beautiful like molten jewelry as well, but they use like massive big gemstones, and I love their work too. Yeah, there's a lot of good jewelers out there. Let's see. I bought polymer clay, made jewelry off of Etsy. Do you ever think there's a different skill set? I've bought a lot of polymer clay and made jewelry off of Etsy. Do you ever make that, or is it a different skill set? I started making jewelry with polymer clay. That's how like I got into just the fun of it all. It is a completely different skill set though, completely, but fun. What do you use to market your website? I use Etsy not Etsy, Jesus Christ. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Yeah, I just use social media to market my website. And Facebook. As in the beginning, trying to buckle down on my website, hearing your words in the back of my head to get it done. Aw, you're so sweet, Vanessa. I know website stuff's not fun, but once you get it all set up and going, you won't regret taking the time to do it. West Texas represent El Paso. Oh, nice. Very cool. Yeah, Dallas, very close to Plano. Oh, Plano's the nice part of Dallas. The shrinky part of Dallas. I like the Dallas area a lot. Collections and sell them. Do you try and design collections and sell them, or whenever inspiration strikes you, make it and put it online? So I used to do more collections, like at least like 4 or 5, 6 pieces, new pieces at a time. But I think now, like with these, I think I'm gonna kind of market these and like, you know, pump up the interest on them and just do these on their own. Because I'm always, and this isn't always a good thing, but I've usually always been a, what's the phrase? you know, like not waiting for something to be like perfect to put it out there. Like I don't want to wait for a whole collection to be done to put it out there. Like I don't want to just not ever put anything new out because I'm waiting to make other stuff, if that makes sense. Like I don't mind just putting onesie twosies out there, but I will market them as if it's a new collection. But it fluctuates sometimes. Sometimes I do collections, sometimes onesie twosies. But I do try and always like hype it up before I put it out there. I haven't really seen your jewelry, but I like handmade stuff. Do you do custom orders? I have a website if you'd like to just scroll through. It's a materiamade.com. I used to do custom jewelry. I'm not doing any customs right now. I will do customs in the sense that like if you see a gemstone or you see a ring that you like but you don't like the gemstone and you want a different one, you can email me and I can try and find a different gemstone or like a different metal, like a higher quality gold. But right now I'm not doing any custom orders. Do you go by what's trendy or design when designing jewelry? I mean, I always think of like what's popular right now, but I always just go with what I like and what feels good to me in the moment. I try not to just go off of trends because I don't know. I think my jewelry is too off the wall to be following any trends anyway. If you look at my jewelry, it's very like melty and flowy, and I don't think it's even really on trend. I don't know. I just kind of go with what I like. And now if I do see something is like picking up more on my website, like for example, I've noticed that people are buying more peridot in my website than any other gemstone. So whenever I'm making more jewelry right now, I'm gonna use more peridot because that's what people like. So in that case, yes, I do, but not just like in general, if that makes sense. I'm looking for my base. So I've got my rings sprued up on the little sprue. I'm gonna weigh it because you gotta weigh your wax before you put it on your base so you know how much metal to pour in the future. Oh, I think that's off. Okay. So I weigh it. It is 1.94 grams. Let me write that down somewhere. Normally I take a picture, but I'm using my phone right now, so shoot. So it is 1.9. What can I write on? 1.94. Okay, got it for later. So now I can put it on my sprue base. The ring without the gem or design attachment. Bit without the gem. Do you make the ring bit or do you buy that in bulk? I make everything from scratch. The only thing I buy for rings are these like mandrels, but I haven't used one of these in a really long time. They are really nice, but I make everything like I freeform it all on a mandrel myself. About how many hours do you spend making your jewelry versus marketing per week? Oof. My schedule's all out of whack, y'all. I would say right at this point in time, it's probably, I mean, in the mornings, I usually make my videos and that can take about, I think it feels longer than it actually takes, but making like a reel for the next day can take me about an hour. If I'm doing a voiceover, it can take a little bit longer because I record so much that when it's time to make the video, it can be like 2 hours or an hour's video and I have to shrink it down to a minute. So it can take me a good while. So I would say I probably spend about 2 hours a day, like creating videos and content, like whether that's filming or creating a reel or creating, like going on TikTok and posting a short little video, or for YouTube, like YouTube takes up a lot of my time filming every little step and editing videos, and that's all marketing too. So I usually take about 2 days out of the week. Yeah, total, probably about 2 days out of the week for YouTube and for editing videos, probably a solid 2 days. And then the rest I can actually make jewelry and then just film as I'm making. And then the next week I spend that time editing videos and editing reels. And I should be sending out more emails than I do, but I haven't sent out an email in a really long time. Just want to let you know, watching your videos encouraging a lot of us helping. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm so glad I can help. I really have enjoyed being on this platform and helping. When I started YouTube, I never thought I would be like teaching anything. I just wanted to share behind the scenes, and knowing that it's helped anyone really makes me like want to keep going. Because whenever I first started making jewelry and learning, there really wasn't like many resources. There were a lot of videos of people like doing things like making jewelry but not teaching, or their skill level was so extreme. It's nice to see someone learning and like suffering through it, you know? I don't want to feel like you're the only one that doesn't know what you're doing. But let me just grab in this sprue base so I can sprue this up. Do you ever saw yourself going to... Oh, do I ever see myself going to a gem show? I would love to go to a gem show. The only thing is that I'm not close to any of those places, and I don't know if I'd fly there for that. I don't know. My sister does live in Arizona, so maybe I could like put that in one go, you know, visiting my sister and going to a gem show. I'd love to go to one day. Do you do toe rings? You're not the only person that's ever asked me about toe rings. I don't do toe rings, but I never say never, you know. Maybe one day I'll get into the toe ring game. Also, though, if you see a ring that you like and you want to size up your toe and see if it'll fit, you could do that just fine if you'd like. Let's see. Let me cut off a little bit more of this. I don't know if it'll let me link it right now. I can link my website once the video's done in the description. But if you don't want to wait for that, I do have it linked like in my bio on YouTube. It's also linked in all my other videos, but it's just materamade.com, M-I-T-E-R-A made.com. But it is linked in my other videos, but I will link it in the description when the video's done. But just put this on the ring base, on the sprue base. Whew. These are almost ready to be invested. Hoping this isn't too far to the, I think it's fine. It should be fine. It's just a gold and garnet ring. Have you done an engagement ring? There are definitely rings that people have bought from me that have been for the purpose of being engaged, but I don't have like an engagement ring line. What's your favorite part of casting? I would say pouring the metal, but my heart beats so hard whenever I'm starting to cast, like really hard. I get so nervous, and you'll notice in some of my videos I just go oh, a gold and garnet ring. Oh, I think I saw that order come through yesterday. You got the middle only ring. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, gold and garnet ring. Okay. Yes, I saw that order. I'm very excited to make that for you. I think I've only done a garnet ring in silver, so I'm excited to see it in gold. It's going to be very pretty. And thank you for that order. And you bought the Molten Basket citron ring, and I love that ring so much. I've been waiting for someone to buy that. I wish I would have made it in a smaller size so I could keep it for myself, but I made it in a size 9, and so I've been waiting for the right person that's a size 9 to get that ring. It's one of the rings I'm the most proud of. I love that setting so much, and I'm very happy to know that it's going to a good home. So let's see, I have been thinking about buying one of your rings from Wait. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I was not good when I cast last, and I left my flask in the water bucket. So I just need to clean this up, but also my phone is about to die, you guys. So I think next time we do a live, we should cast together, because I feel like y'all always see it on like the studio vlogs and stuff, but it's always chopped up in bits. So I think it'd be fun. Thank you. Assuming that's pretty true. When pouring the molten metal into vacuum chamber, I forgot the rubber gasket, and so the mold machine caught on fire. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Was it the Kaya cast? I'm so sorry to hear that. I know I saw the size and I was like, well, it's my, that's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna end this here because I don't want the phone to die on you guys, but I really appreciate, okay, we'll do casting live. I really appreciate you being here. It really does make everything more fun when I have someone to talk to. And it was nice to meet you. I can't wait to make your jewelry. And I will see you guys in my next studio vlog. I'll have some of my work from today and the last few days, and I'll talk to y'all soon, okay? Have a good day. Have a good Sunday. Bye, guys.